Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Glass Seats. This is Viddy.
My name is Mrinal, and in this episode, we are talking about the Colorado Avalanche. Open their season against the Vegas Golden Knights, which
Tough
is
challenge.
Quickly turning into one of those rivalries, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say either team would consider them rivals, but they played each other a lot.
Yeah. I mean, they just always see each other in the play. It's like same with LA and Edmonton, right?
Yeah. So they opened the season with that, but Colorado falls 8-4.
Yeah. Getting 8-piece in your first game of the season is not a good look.
Was Colorado bad or was Vegas that good?
So here's the thing. During the offseason, Vegas did lose a lot of pieces. We talked about this many a times. They just didn't have the cap space. LTIR didn't save them this time. They had to make their adjustments, but they did keep a bunch of core pieces, as we know. William Karlsson didn't even dress in the game, whenever it was yesterday. And they still got 8-piece. And you see the problem here is if you watch the game, there was at least 3 to 4 softies let in by both goalies. Georgiev got chased after the second period, and then had to take in, and he wasn't all that great either. And there was one goal that was taken back because there was a penalty that occurred right as the goal was being scored. So it could have been a 9-4 ass kicking, basically. And something I wanted to point out that maybe this is an overreaction. Maybe this is just something that the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about, because when you have Rantanen and you have McKinnon and you got Makar and you got whoever else in the Colorado uniform just kicking ass all the time, you don't talk about defense because you can score 6 goals in a game. And Rantanen had a hat trick, by the way.
And lost.
So this is the point. I don't think it might have worked when they had Darcy Kemper in 2022.
Yeah.
But do you think it's a little arrogant that the Avalanche are trying to go in with this, we can just outscore our opponent mentality again?
I don't know if that is their mentality. Right?
You don't think?
No. I think it's a fine mentality for the regular season. See Toronto. Right?
Yeah,
you just
facts,
outscore everyone. See Edmonton. Outscore everyone. You get great regular seasons out of that.
Yeah.
It's when push comes to shove in the playoffs, you need a good goalie, right? So now the question is, are they going to go into the playoffs again with Georgiev? That's when I might start to question things.
Yeah. And we saw in the playoffs, he was either stellar or he was Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
And in the playoffs specifically, obviously this is way too early because it's October, the season just started. We're 1 game in. But to say that this becomes a recurring problem for the Colorado Avalanche, is it time to actually shop for a new goalie? At least with a little bit more consistency. I don't know what the goalie market's looking
I
right now.
think that it's time to keep your phone open, at least, right?
If you're CMAC, it's,
You don't have to wait till the deadline.
Right.
And, if your goalie aren't performing well by November, then you're essentially playing with an anchor around your ankle.
Yeah.
Right? Look at Martin Jones in 2018, 2019, around there, right?
Yeah.
Sharks were fantastic, but then they were just
trying
to stay afloat with Martin Jones tanking the goalie.
Yeah.
Right?
He had a couple elite games, but again, this is the same problem even with Georgiev, where is he going to be elite, or is he just not even going to be fundamentally in the right position to make the save, right?
Yeah. So, you can keep your options open. It's not panic time. Like you said, it's October, right? Panic time's for April.
It's game 1 or game 2 now. Yeah.
But it's something you would keep open, right? But now the real other question that I wanted to bring up to you is it all on the goalie? Or, because, what's Colorado's defense behind their top pair of Makar and Taves?
Yeah.
It falls off a cliff after that.
A little bit, yeah. And so there was definitely, obviously, you can't pin it all on the goalie. It just, and don't get me wrong, Vegas was good. Vegas played well. It's just when you get 8-pieced, that's just at that point, how do you stop the bleeding? And watching the game, Colorado was never out of the game until they started running away with empty nets and, power play goals and stuff like that. And the problem is they kept fighting back. They kept fighting back to this 1-goal lead, and immediately we get to 2, and then 1-goal lead again, and then 2, deficit. And it's a monumental task, even from a momentum standpoint, to come back from something like that when your goalie is constantly letting in, let's call a spade, constantly letting in goals that they should have stopped. Yeah. They should have saved that.
And they don't really have a backup.
No, their backup didn't do all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have, his name is Enuin.
Eninen, yeah.
Eninen, he's not an NHL regular.
No.
Right? So even if you are sticking with Georgiev, you could get a better backup.
Right.
There's moves to be made here.
Mm-hmm.
And just reinforcing my point on defense, this is their bottom 4 defense. So besides Makar and Taves, they have Manson, Dahan.
He played good. I'll give Manson credit.
All right. Manson, Dahan, Gerard, and Malinsinski.
Mm-hmm.
Malinsinski? I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah. So Manson and Gerard, I would say, are pretty solid. Dahan is, he's a good mid pairing.
But he's also past his prime.
Yes,
real,
yeah.
right?
Well, yeah. So, yeah, it's hard to pin it all directly on the goalie. But again, just watching the game, and again, this could be a total overreaction, but there was just a lot of soft shots that were let in. And this was also a concern last year during the playoffs. Was Georgiev going to step up to the plate? Was he going to be this consistent goaltender in the playoffs are a long battle, right? Like we know this. And the whole Darcy Kemper thing might have been a miracle Hail Mary that worked one time.
Kemper was great that year, and he has not been great since.
Right. He was traded in that, it was a PLD, right? Trade, I think it was.
He's been traded twice since winning that cup.
Right. So, because of bad contracts, he might have gotten the contract after winning the cup. I don't remember, but still, there's a gaping hole here that needs to be fixed if Colorado expects to reach that cup status again.
Is Colorado now paying the price for the Bowen Byram trade?
I think so. Because I definitely was thinking that at first because I was like, man, their centers were already pretty good. Mm-hmm. Obviously no shade against Casey Middlestat. He was great too, but man, Bowen Byram was special. I thought he was like very underrated in my opinion, especially from a defensive standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Casey Middlestat, of course, did score last night. So
yeah, so
he's contributing.
Yeah, he's contributing. Yeah, for sure. I'm no shade against him, and Ranson, did his thing, but it might have been a little bit too soon. I don't know. Maybe in retrospect, it was the right move to make last trade deadline, but it's hard to say right now. And I'm thinking this is just a way too early prediction, a glass seeds prediction. But I think Colorado's going to need to find something or do something about their goalie tandem if they really want to think about a deep cup run here. Unfortunately, the goalie market looks to be drying up a bit, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and come back in future episodes to see what happens with the Avalanche. If you like this episode, drop a like on it. Hit subscribe if you want more Glass Seats. We have multiple episodes out every week. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.